Hi, on Willax Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Alright, right, yucca fruit. Why don't I have the recipe for this? Oh, because it's under drink. That would be why. Alright, we'll dump that in medicine. Okay. So I should be able to get out here and go check out this, I got a treasure map. Right? Didn't I spin up a treasure map? And then I've got another quest out here to clear the area. I think I did a treasure map. Yeah. So let's go hit the map first. Well, we managed to play some Starfinder this week. It was only a few minutes though. I don't know, the one guy who doesn't show up. I mean, he shows up, I guess, but the one guy who is currently our problem child on showing up, he sent me a message and he says, I sent him a message. I don't know why I have to send him a message every week to check if he's going to be there or not. I mean, I know why I'm doing it, because he just doesn't say whether or not he's going to be there. Oh, shoot. This is not an open path on this side. And so I sent him a message, and I'm like, hey, you going to show up tonight, or should I, prep something different? And he said, oh, yeah, no, I'm on my way home from a place that's about a 4-hour drive one way. And I should be home around 10. So we start at 9:30. So I'm like, I don't think that I want to... Oh, we should go around the mountain. I don't think I want to load up one campaign, play for 30 minutes, and then, shove everything back down and swap to another campaign if he's going to be home by 10, right? So, so I go ahead and we just chit-chat while we're waiting for him to show up. And now he said be home by 10. And then 10 rolls around. He's still not on. And, hey, look, there's my other thing that I said I was looking for, my airdrop. And so anyways, we're in the middle of a pretty good conversation. I'm paying attention to my phone, wondering why he's not here yet after he said he was going to be here. And at 10, and then about 7 minutes after 10, definitely going to be home by 10. About 7 minutes after 10, I get a message that says, I'll be home in about 10 minutes. Or no, I just got home. Give me 10 minutes. And so we go back to waiting, chit-chatting. About 15 minutes later, he shows up. Maybe a little more than that. 20 minutes later, he finally shows up. We really didn't get started until about 10:30. And we quit at 11. So everybody gets logged in. I give him the spiel. We're in the mansion where the city council is currently being held hostage. And all they had done so far was fight the front guard. And so they needed to... they hadn't actually entered the building yet. And so, so that was the plan. And so they get in the first room, and the first room is this place is holograms, and it detects your political thoughts. And so I ask everybody to roll and see what their political thoughts are from their characters. And so the I wanted to do this. And so everybody succeeded except for one guy, which of course is the chatty other DM. And I'm just thinking, oh, I don't want to listen to him rattle on and on about his character's political ideals. But I asked because, that's what the room calls for. And so I don't remember what he said. I know he tied it into some story or game or something. Like it wasn't like something his character actually did. He was like, there's a scene of my guy as an advisor to important people and stuff like that. The image of my guy testing a bomb while being surrounded by army personnel or something. I'm just like, okay. And then they enter the next room, and the next room is like an architectural museum room, and but in there is a pair of droids that are guarding the room, and so we start to fight the droids, and I swear I could not get my ability to work. I despise the operative trick attack. It's basically Starfinder's version of the sneak attack from 5e, but it's terrible. I like that it requires my skill to activate instead of the presence of other people. And so you've got to roll for my character. It's stealth because of the type of operative he is, and I have a plus 10 to stealth. But you have to roll against a 20 plus the challenge of the creature, which means that every time I roll, I have to get at least a 22 or 23 or higher than that. And for whatever reason, I can't roll good in this particular tabletop, virtual tabletop. Bad guys, if I'm controlling a bad guy, man, they roll huge numbers. If it's my character, though, no. And so every time, if I don't just fail both rolls, I've never managed to succeed on both rolls at the same time. And so, sure enough, every round of combat, I would use my full round of combat. I did like 2 damage total in 3 rounds of combat. Hey, because I couldn't get the stealth check to work and then land the attack. Now, to be fair, I would expect the stealth check to succeed way more often than it does because I have a plus 10 to that as an operative. I don't want that. There's some machine gun parts in there, which is nice. Well, it's not a terrible little treasure hunt out here, so. So, I gave up and just switched to my gun at that point, and and we finished killing the 2 droids. And then they went to the next room, and the next room was like a bathroom, but some creatures, some beetle creatures had chewed their way into the building, and so the door had been shut with a big keep out sign on it. And so when they opened the door, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna shut the door." I'm like, "Okay," because I figured if the door was just shut, it wasn't locked or anything, and that kept the beetles in, then I would assume that the players could shut the door to keep the beetles in. Um, so, uh, so they turned, and we moved to a different door that was locked, and we had 3 different guys attempt to unlock it, including my operative. Everyone failed, and then our warrior type, he just tried to break it open, and then he failed. And I'm like, well, this is just a super sturdy door and lock. It's just beyond our abilities. And so it didn't matter. It was like an outside door. So even if they went out that door, all it would mean was they'd have to come back in a different door into the same building. So I didn't see a big deal about going out that door. Yeah. Then after all that, we were out of time, and we had to quit for the night. So it was a very, very short evening. So I think next time I'm just gonna start my other game, and not even ask if he's gonna show up. If he can't be bothered to show up on time and stuff. So I did manage to watch a sci-fi series over the last few days. I watched Outer Range. So spoilers for Outer Range. It was okay. I would like to know how the story progresses, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's a great story. The acting, it's okay. There's not really any special effects. It's not that kind of sci-fi. They try to go. I don't know. There's a lot of weird things in the show that don't make any sense, and they didn't attempt to explain any of the weirdness. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of when you've got a show and you're like, "Ooh, we're spooky, but we're not going to explain why we're spooky." I don't like that. I'd like to know why things are happening. And so basically, it's set in Wyoming. I think it's Wyoming, on a ranch for the most part, and I can't remember his name. So there's a family, and so there's the husband, the owner of the ranch, the father. I don't remember what his name is, and he, which is weird because he's like the main character. He ran away from home when he was a child, and the ranch owner took him in, and he's lived on the ranch ever since. In fact, I think he married the rancher's daughter. So, and then they have 2 sons. An older son who is married with a daughter, but the wife has disappeared. And then a younger son. I mean, both sons are in their 20s, early 30s, you know. And the younger son is a rodeo rider. And so he does some rodeo riding stuff that, I mean, it adds a little bit to the drama, but there's not really any story to him riding bulls. You know, there just isn't. It's in the show. It happens like 3 or 4 times, but it has. it has some impact on the story, I guess. But it's not like there's no like focus on bull riding. There isn't like a storyline to go with it. It's just in the story, um, and so uh, this woman shows up, and she looks like she's in her, I don't know, late 20s, early 20s, somewhere in the 20s, maybe early 30s. I don't know. I cannot judge her age. I have no idea. And she wants to camp on their ranch, and so the dude agrees to let her camp on the ranch, and um, and then uh, and then two of their cows go missing. And so when he goes out to see what happened to their cows, he comes across a giant hole in the field, and it's like it's a sci-fi hole. It's like okay, there's no way through here. It's appears to be bottomless and kind of looks like it's got dust blown across the top of it. And so he throws some stuff in there, sticks his hand in there, and when he pulls his hand out, his hand is covered in black something, and it all swarms into his hand. And then eventually what happens is it comes down to this. His neighbor is obsessed with... Okay, what I think happened, which they don't explain in the show, what I think happened was this. Alright, so huge spoilers. The main character is from the other side of the hole. And the hole may or may not be related to time. I'm not sure if it's time or dimensional based. But when he was a boy, he accidentally shot his father while they were hunting. And so when he fled, he fell into the hole. And when he came out the other side, he went in the hole, and it was 1886. And when he came out the other side, it was 1968. And so, this is a little place to clear the area. And so, the two boys get in a fight at a bar with... Okay, no, before that, the whole him coming through the hole is important. Okay. I lost my train of thought there for a second. So the reason that's important is because when he came out the other side of the hole into 1968, there was another boy already there, and so I'm fairly certain. I could be wrong, but I'm wondering if his neighbor wasn't the other boy, because he is obsessed with... He's either obsessed with hedonism. He's looking for that one thing to make him feel good, I guess, or he is looking for something as mysterious as what he saw as a child. And so he pays off a guy to say... Oh, I thought that was a safe. To say that he owns a mile farther inward onto that guy's ranch, which includes the hole. And so the boys are out at a bar, and they're getting drunk, and the three boys, from the other ranch are there as well, and they pick a fight because these guys are stealing their land, and their father wants their land back. And so that guy was booking it. Let's go ahead and. I think that guy was booking it too. And then oh no, he wasn't. He just busted out of the side here, all crazy. And so the older son punches I don't know which son it is, the middle son, we'll say, of the other family, in the throat, killing him. And so they freak out. They're the only ones there with the middle son. The other two sons from the other ranch are not aware of what happened. And so they take his body and they go all the way home because they don't know what to do. And so when they go all the way home, their father tells them to, strip down, clean out the truck, and he'll take the body. And then what he does is he takes the body out to the hole, and he throws it in the hole. Well, the woman that he lets camp on the place saw it, and she comes up to him and starts talking to him, and then I don't know what he was going to do, but he turns to look into the hole, and when he does that, she shoves him into the hole as well, and so he falls in the hole. This is the main character. I really don't remember what his name is. Oh, I do. It's Royal. His name is Royal. So Roy, we'll call him Roy. Roy goes into the hole, but when he comes out the other side, he's standing in his pasture. This is why I think it's dimensional and not time-based. I guess it depends on what they're doing. But when he comes out the other side, there's a bunch of people standing there waiting, and I feel like I must have missed a zombie somewhere. And there's a bunch of oil derricks everywhere, which it's a cow pasture in his world. So I'm not saying that they couldn't still be time-based, but oh geez, that's a lot of fellas. And so one of the guys just starts shooting at him. And I honestly wasn't paying enough attention to see who the person was that started shooting at him, so maybe it was one of those guys from the other ranch and I just didn't notice. It doesn't matter to the story, so I really didn't even bother to go back and look because it didn't seem to matter. So he jumps back in the hole, and then the woman, Autumn is her name, wants his land now, and then of course so does the other rancher guy and his sons. And so over the course of the show, they basically are trying to not freak out about killing that guy, and trying to deal with Autumn, who won't stop trying to get in everybody's business, and she starts showing people the hole, and just stirring things up. And so eventually she I don't know, it's really weird. She's on some kind of medication, and Royal. Oh wow. Royal burns her tent down, which includes her medication. And so she really starts getting loopy. And she also kind of starts dating the youngest son of the other rancher. And pulls him into her scheme to steal the ranch from Royal. And then because of the things she does and says, she pushes. I think his name is Perry. The oldest son is Perry, Royal's son, and he pushes him to confess that he killed the other guy. And so after, oh dang it, stupid Vulture, stupid Vulture. So after he confesses, they have to put the ranch up as collateral, and then the other rancher guy goes and sees the hole himself in the middle of the night, and when he gets home, it's so overwhelming for him that he has a stroke and collapses. And so then that guy's wife shows up. She like comes in on a helicopter from wherever she's staying in. I think Aspen is what they said. And so now they contact the guy about the will because she wants to make sure that, you know, her and her favorite son are in control of the ranch. And then they find out that he's actually leaving the ranch to the youngest son. And so then the oldest son, he goes out and starts digging in the ground, and he finds some of that black stuff, that black goop that Royal had in his hand. They break up a necklace at one point, and some of it's in there. And then the youngest son of the other rancher, he breaks up the rock that his father had, and there's some of it in there. So I don't know what the black goop is. Autumn says it's time. But how do I know? Because Autumn's crazy. And so everybody starts kind of going a little crazy. This bear shows up at one point, and the Royal's wife kills it after finding its dead cub. And then she's like, I don't even know. The show doesn't make any sense. I mean, the show has a linear narrative that makes sense, but everybody's doing weird things that have no reason. So the wife sees this dead cub, and then she goes and she digs a big hole. And so thought she was going to put the dead cub in the hole. But instead, she takes the dead cub into the tool shed. And then later, she goes out and sits next to the cub. And then she takes the cub, and she opens its mouth, and she puts her hand in its mouth, and then closes its mouth down on her hand so that it bites into her hand, like to the blood. Why did she do that? I don't know. And then the mother bear shows up and comes after her, and she shoots and kills the mother bear. And I believe the mother bear also had a moment with Autumn. And Royal tries to kill Autumn a couple of times, and I was trying to remember why the glass gets busted at their ranch. But there's a moment at the ranch where a bunch of glass gets busted, and the little girl, his granddaughter, Anne, I think is her name, gets cut on the forehead. And then Autumn, when does this happen? I don't remember. Anyways, Autumn shows Perry the hole, and then Perry confronts his father about it, and then his father tells him that he's actually from the other side of the hole. And so Perry then tells his father that the answer's there, and then throws himself in the hole, which means that they do not have Perry to keep their ranch because they put their ranch up for collateral for Perry, and now Perry's gone, and which is what Autumn wanted. And so yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one for sure. And then it ends with Autumn calls Royal and tells him that something's about to happen to Annie. And then he heads out into the darkness, and Autumn and Billy, the youngest son from the other rancher, start chasing him. And they get into like a gunfight while they're in vehicles. And Royal shoots Billy, and they wreck. And then Royal goes back to the wreck, and he finds Autumn, and he gets down in her face, and when he gets down in her face, he notices that she has the same cut as Annie on her head. So Autumn apparently is adult Annie, and so he picks her up and takes her back to the ranch. So while all that's happening with him and Billy and Autumn having their gunfight car chase, the rest of them, well, not Perry, of course, because he threw himself in the hole, but the mother and the granddaughter and the youngest son are at the bull ride at the rodeo, and the youngest son is about to ride his bull. And then Annie gets up and goes off for some reason, and she sees her missing mother, and she goes to her missing mother, and then that's it. She's gone. Where she went, I don't know. They don't show. And so the mother can't find her, and then the kid, he's not a kid, but the youngest son, he finishes his bull ride, sees that none of his family was there for him, and decides that he's ready to leave with the girl who he's in love with, and she said she couldn't be with him because he wouldn't leave the ranch, and she couldn't stay anymore. And so then he's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's just go. And so that was kind of the end of it. I'm assuming there's going to be a season 2. Maybe. Hopefully. I don't think it was a great story. It was kind of slow. There's a lot more that went on. Like there's a sheriff trying to investigate it. The body that they threw in the hole came back out, but when they examined the corpse, it was only dead for like 8 hours, but he's been missing for 4 days. Something I missed if the sheriff fell in the hole or if it was just a mountain. There's a point where the mountain next to the ranch disappears and comes back. And then the sheriff, she's can't get any cell phone signal, and she sees a herd of buffalo stampeding, and then on the other side of that buffalo is a Native American village because apparently she's slipped back in time. The oldest son from the other ranch starts digging a big hole, and eventually he finds the black stuff, which I assume he thought was oil, and then he scoops it up in his hand, and then it turns out to be the black stuff, and it absorbs into his skin. The guy, the surveyor who got paid off to say that part of Royal's ranch belonged to the other guy, was in his car, and he got in a car wreck. I'm pretty sure he's dead. I don't know, because he got in a car wreck, and that was the last they showed of him. But yeah, it was... I don't know. I don't know what to think about the show. It's just what I've been watching. It's like 8 episodes on Amazon Prime. they don't explain enough, and there's a lot of weird stuff. There's like this buffalo that keeps showing up. I get that it's supposed to be from the past because it's got arrows stuck in it, but I don't. Nothing relates that buffalo to anything in the show, so I don't know why the buffalo is there. I get why there'd be a stampede of buffaloes, but I don't know. Uh, you'd think there'd be more people passing back and forth through there, or you'd think that if they have the adult Annie now, when Annie's like a kid, she clearly came from the other side of the hole. So does that mean that her mother's from the other side of the hole? I don't. Nobody really time travel. No, that's not what I meant. Nobody really aged going through the hole. Like Royal went through the hole and came back, and he was the same age. But Royal also said he came from the other side of the hole, and he skipped like 100 years. So I just the time isn't stable, if that's what's happening. And the weirdness isn't explained at all. And they just got like these grand statements about like Kronos carving a hole in the universe with his scythe to split the normal from the abnormal, and or the wondrous from the normal. And I don't know. I don't know if I like the show. I like the actors who are in it, but the story was not. It was like 30% trying to hide the fact they committed a murder. About 20%. No, it's probably more than 30. It was probably more like 60% trying to hide the murder and the fallout from it. About 20% of it was that guy trying to steal his land, leaving about 20% of weirdness that never got explained. But all right, with that, I am going to call it a day. So be better than small things, lean to the light, and I will talk to you later.